welcome to this video on how to run ads for your agency. In this video, I'm going to show you everything that we do for ourselves, that we do for clients, etc. in terms of the logistics of actually running ads. Like, how do you physically run ads for your agency profitably that actually get you clients? For context, last month, I think we spent about 45, 50 grand on ads, and we had a CPA of $2,300 on a multiple 5-figure offer. So pretty profitable, and we can run ads extremely well. And obviously we do all of this for all of our clients as well. So we have a lot of experience doing it. And as I say, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what we do. So I'm going to walk you through a live ad account showing you exactly how I run my own agency ads, which we spend currently right now about 2K per day on. And again, we're signing about a client per day. We've got a $2,300 CPA. So spending 2K a day, roughly one new client per day. Again, that's a multiple 5-figure client. Okay. But first, before I show you that, you need to understand the back-end algorithm and math behind running ads before I show you what buttons to click. The reason being is because if I show you what buttons to click, you might click the right buttons, but your ads still won't perform if you don't understand the algorithm behind the back end of how the ads actually run. Because believe it or not, that's more important than what buttons you click. Here's the VSL call funnel logistics. Now, in terms of the VSL, that's a funnel that we run for all of our clients. If you don't know what that is, or you want to learn more about how to create that, I've got another video on the channel explaining exactly that. But here's the funnel logistics essentially. Number one, your targeting must be done through your copywriting to ultimately force only qualified people through your funnel. Don't fall into the fallacy that your qualified prospects are found at the audience level in the ads manager. I think one of our broader audiences is about 10 million in audience size. It's super broad. Our targeting does not get done at the audience level. Don't fall into that fallacy. So what you want is your front end ads must be hyper specific to a certain audience, and that certain audience is your qualified prospects. Okay, a qualified prospects then opt in and book in a call. And Facebook, what Facebook then does is they look at who's opting in, and then they further show the ads to other people who are similar to those who are opting in. Now, if your front end messaging is strong, then Facebook's going to be showing your ads to more qualified prospects, creating a positive quality flywheel. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, direct messaging also breeds higher costs, so you must also back out the numbers, your CPA, okay, and your ROAS overall. Don't make decisions based on your front end lead cost. If you run ads for e-com, or you run ads for like real estate or local lead gen, like delivery for your clients, you can't run them in the same way. In e-com, it's like all about the cost and whatnot. In high ticket call funnel advertising, it's more about the CPA and the ROAS than it is about like the cost per book call. Because you might have a really good cost per book call, but your quality is terrible and you're not closing anyone. You then might triple your front end cost per book call, but then you start closing everyone, and all of a sudden your CPA is way more profitable. Your ads are ultimately way more profitable despite having a 3 to 5x higher cost per book call. All right, does that make sense? So you always need to back it out to the CPA. Okay, so for example, if you're getting $100 leads, right, $100 cost per lead, that's quite high. But if then you have a 50% lead to book ratio, meaning out of every 100 leads that you get, 50 people book in a call, right? Due to the leads being 100% qualified and actively wanting what you have, now all of a sudden you've got a $200 cost per book call, because 50% of leads are converting, you got a $100 lead, so $200 cost per call. And if you have a 70% show rate, that will result in a $285 cost per live call, meaning cost per showed up call, because obviously not every booking that you generate is actually going to show up. Then if you have a 25% close rate, now you have a $1,140 CPA. And so obviously, if you have a $2,500 a month offer, $5K a month offer, or a $15K one-time offer, or $20K whatever it is, when you got $1,140 CPA, you're ridiculously profitable. Yet you're running $100 leads. Lead cost really high, but who cares because your CPA is super profitable. Now, obviously as well, this is the other thing. If you double the above numbers, you'd still have a 2.5K CPA based on a $400 cost per book call. So if you got $200 leads and you got a $400 cost per book call, but you're still maintaining your show and you're closing at 25%, well, now this is going to go to what's that, $2280 CPA, $2,280 CPA. Well, again, even if you've got a $2,500 a month offer, is that the best numbers? No, we always shoot for a 2x ROAS on day one for our clients, meaning if they have a $2,000 offer, the max CPA we want to pay is $1,000. But even so, you're still going to be profitable long term. You can still run those ads very profitably. You can still scale them and whatnot. So don't go into this running ads for your own agency with the mindset that you have to get the cheapest lead possible. $2,280 CPA based on $200 leads, you know? Now, the other thing is the budgets, and this is a little more technical, but it will make sense as you run the ads. Ideally, you want to always optimize if it's CBO for 30 to 50 pixel fires per week per campaign. And so if your CPL is $50, and by the way, a pixel fire basically means whatever event you're optimizing for, you want 30 to 50 of those events. So if you're optimizing for schedule, you want 30 to 50 schedules per week. If you're optimizing for lead, which I recommend, you want 30 to 50 leads per week. So for example, again, if your target CPL is $50, then you would want 50 times 30. I've put 35 here because just kind of the minimum. 50 times 35 okay, equals 1,750, so 1750. Now, that's obviously per week. So you want 30 to 50 pixel files per week. But then you want to divide it by 7 to get the daily budget. So in this case, if you're getting a $50 lead, you would want a $250 daily budget to get the correct optimization minimum. This is just minimum. You don't need to run with this, but like you can't go any lower than this really, right? Ideally, the more you can spend, the better, basically, the long and short of it. Up until about $1,000, then at $1,000, you'd then want to split out the campaigns, and then you would want to split. So if you want to run 2,000 a day, you don't want to put 2,000 on one campaign. It's better to either do 2 campaigns at 1,000 or 4 campaigns at 500 versus 1 campaign at 2,000. That's just because of how Facebook works. It's just better to do that. You're more spread out. You've got a stronger base at that point. So if one falls off, you've only got one that falls off, but then you've got 3 other 500s running, and you're just more stable long term. Also, you want to use leading indicators, cost per click, CPL, lead quality, to predict the lagging indicators such as cost per book call and CPA. So I know for some people, like $250 a day is like a lot of money. And so you might not want to run this for too long if you don't know how it's actually going to perform, right? And so instead of having to run that $250 per day for, 3 weeks to see if you're going to get any clients from it, that might be a huge loss to you if you don't end up getting any clients from it, right? So instead of waiting for the lagging indicators to determine what decision you make for the ad or the campaign, whether to leave it on or turn it off, you can use leading indicators such as your cost per click, CPL, and lead quality. Really, they're the main ones. I mean, look, if you run a campaign and you're getting $25 clicks, $30 clicks, just turn it off, right? Like that's not usually, if you let it spend maybe $60, $70 and you've got 2 clicks at $35 each, then, you should probably just turn that off. That's not really ever going to get back down to a $10 cost per click, right? However, that said, if you've got a $10 click, but no lead yet, and you've got 6 clicks at $10 each, you spent $60 and you've not got a lead yet, I would leave that on. Why? Because I mean, the leading indicators of the clicks, $10 cost per click, that's pretty good. That's okay, right? Now, again, if you're comparing that number, $10 cost per click in e-com might seem crazy expensive. But if you're going for a high quality business, if you're running your agency and you're serving, e-com brands, or you're serving SaaS companies, or you're serving whoever it might be, gyms or whatever, dentist, whatever it is, right? Naturally, it's a lot more expensive to market to those people. So a $10 cost per click is actually relatively normal, right? And so then, as I say, you can see how I'm using the leading indicators in that case. $60 spent, no leads, but I've got 6 clicks at $10 each. I'd probably just leave that on. If you've got $250 spent, for example, and you've got 2 leads at $125 each, and the lead quality looks pretty good, but you've not got a call yet, but you've spent $250, well, I'd use those leading indicators of 125 leads, lead quality is pretty good. I'd use that leading indicator to let you know, hey, I'd probably leave that on because the calls are probably going to come at that point. Whereas if you'd spent that same $250 and you'd gotten 5 clicks at $50 per click, you should probably turn the thing off. You know what I mean? So hopefully that makes sense in terms of using leading indicators to predict lagging indicator outcomes, basically. And then the other thing you need to do, before I get into the specifics of actually showing you the ads manager and how to set it up and whatnot, the other thing you need to do is make sure that you're focusing on DPL activities. So the DPL stands for dollar per lead activities. You must make sure that you're doing email marketing and that you have setters in your funnel, because otherwise this just won't work. I was always in the mindset that email marketing doesn't work because I never check my emails. I don't go on my emails. I get promotional emails all the time. I never open them. I've never done anything with emails, right? And so I always thought that emails didn't work. So we didn't do it for the longest time. We just started doing it kind of recently. We send an email per day and the numbers are insane. It wasn't recent. It was like 2.5, 3 months ago, but numbers are insane. It drops your cost per call so much. Plus setters, we probably get about 50% of our bookings from setters, calling the leads who opt in and setting them. So that helps tremendously as well. Obviously, I've got other trainings on that stuff. So that's what you need to know about VSL call funnels. Now, let's go into, this is just an ad account that was like an old one. We don't run it anymore. We use another ad account, but let me show you basically how to set this up inside of the ads manager and the specifics. Okay. So you want to come in the ads manager. We always do leads, and then I'll always do CBO. Now they've called it advanced campaign budget, but I would I'll always turn this on. And then here, this is where you would want to figure out like that number before that I was talking to you about. So 30 to 50 pixel files per week per campaign. And you want to do this to figure out your daily budget. So in this case, I'll just do 500 because this is primarily what we launch our CBOs at. It's 500 a day. Here, obviously, make sure you select website. Make sure you got your pixel installed and all that set up correctly. We'll always optimize for leads. All right. Just because, I mean, schedule, you have to just spend way more for it to actually do anything. Plus, I've just always found actually leads to perform better anyway. Now, audiences. So this is what I wanted to talk on as well. So the audience, who do you target? What audience do you do, etc.? Well, you want to do the heavy lifting of your targeting through your copy and your creative and your offer and your funnel, etc., right? Through the messaging of the funnel. I'm going to explain that here in a minute as well when I get to the ad level. I'll show you all of the stuff that we're running. At this level, in the audience section, in the ad set, you do want to give some inputs to Facebook. And the way that I think about this is that you want to just tell Facebook where your audience is, as in not exactly where they live, It's just like, what state are they in? That's kind of how I think about it. Don't give them the house address, the home address, right? Don't get that particular. Just say they're in Texas. Just say they're in, LA or what. Just kind of point to where they are, and then let Facebook go to that state and then dial in through the messaging, or find the suburb, find the street, and then find the house number. And the way that you get that specific is through the messaging. Does that make sense? For example, take our offer, right? We work with marketing agencies above 25K a month specifically. No one below that. They can't afford what we do. Plus, we just don't work with them. All right. There's probably 25,000, 35,000, 45,000 in that range, right? Of those marketing agencies above 25,000 a month in the world. Okay. Call it 40,000. Easy numbers. I don't actually know the exact number, but it's not that much in the whole world, about 40,000. Okay. My audience though is not 20 million. It's 10 million roughly. It's anywhere typically between 7 and 10 million audience size. So it's 7 to 10 million, but there's only 30,000 of my guys in the world. Do you see how I'm going broad saying, hey, they're over there. And then I let Facebook dial in to the 35, 40,000 that are actually the marketing agencies above 25K a month through my messaging. So when it comes to the audiences, typically I'll always say in here, you've got like famous people, like influencers. You've got influencers you can target of the niche that you're trying to go after. You've got software, right? Which is very common with businesses because all businesses have software. You've got like fields of study, magazines, podcasts, okay, that your ideal client would listen to. You got the guests of those podcasts as well. That's always good. Like for example, an influencer in my space might be Frank Kern, right? Like people of Frank Kern probably, are in the marketing space, right? Okay, so that's like influencers. You can go down that list. And also make sure you're always using the suggestions as well. Because like you see how like Simon Sinek, Lewis Howes, Seth Godin, right? There's these other like influencers that come up as a byproduct of searching for Frank Kern. Then you've got broad interest. So like a broad interest for an agency owner might be advertising agency. There you go. Oh, that's an employer's. You be careful of that. That's just like, see how that's a broad interest. That's not an influencer or a book. It's just a broad interest of my ideal client. So that's another one that I could test. And then you've got books. Oh, and then you've got softwares as well, right? So a software in my space might be MailChimp. Easy numbers, right? There you go. So that's what you'd really do there. You can also do lookalikes as well. So you can upload a custom audience of whoever your ideal client is. So for example, if you serve dentists doing, 100K a month, for example, or 50K a month, you could pay our leads also, scrape dental clinics in the area that you want to operate in, whether it's US or whatever, US based dental clinics who all do above 50K a month, for example. Get that lead list, upload that into Facebook, and then you can test in here lookalikes based off of that lead list. So a 1%, 2%, 3%, etc. Okay, that's what I would do. And then the audience size. So for example, if I just do a software style for like my ideal client, might be HubSpot, MailChimp, Salesforce, WordPress, or also I always do Big Five. All right, so I'm always going to run the Big Five, which is basically UK, New Zealand, Canada, United States, and Australia. So now you can see that's gone 25 to 30 million basically. If I was to target my guys for like agency owners and whatnot, I'm going to do like 25 to 45. And now you can see that's at 12 to 14. So I'd probably run that as a test. All right, that's all I do with the audiences. Nothing too specific, nothing too crazy. Super broad, just telling Facebook they're over there somewhere. Just letting them know they're in this 0 to 10 million range, somewhere in there. Okay, great. Now the ads are going to do the targeting. Okay. And then I'll always just leave not always, but typically I would just start with Advantage Placements Plus, which is basically automatic placements. All right. So you ad everywhere. Okay. Then we go to the ad level. So the ad level, you want to select your page, basic stuff, Instagram account, whatever. Now here, this is where you want to do, okay. So I copied this. This is one of our pieces of ad copy that I've used. Okay. That we're currently running with. So let me just quickly run through this just to give you an idea of what to put into the ad copy. So basically the top here, and notice how specific I get with the call out, with the messaging overall. And you can now tell how, or you can see why Facebook is actually going to use this as a way to do the targeting for me, right? So I call out exactly who I want. Number one, marketing agencies above 25K a month. I get specific with that, right? Then I have an offer that speaks exactly to that market. The pre-existing desires of the market is they want more sales calls. So that's what the offer speaks to, right? Then I go into a bit of proof, name drop a couple of big clients, more proof. Also last month, I spent 42K into our own ad funnel. So now I'm going into personal proof because a lot of the time I see in our space, one of the things that's very common is these people do a service for other people, but they don't do that same service for themselves, right? Whereas we actually run our own ads and we run clients' ads because it works and we know we're very good at it, right? I'm not going to run a client's ad, get them great results, and then not run that for myself. Why would I do that, right? If it actually works. Most of the time it doesn't work, which is why people do it for other people, but not themselves. So I make a point of that. Then I go into just results right here, right? I'm going through a lot of results and I just basically CTA. That's really it. Now, the reason why I do it in this way, some of our clients, not always, but sometimes we'll expose the mechanism behind how we actually get the result that gets people bought into the way in which we do things. What I've done with my funnel is I've saved that for the VSL. And the reason why is because I know that people on the front end with my market specifically just want qualified calls. They want to see the proof and they want to see results and they want a good guarantee. And that's typically all they need to click the ad initially. And obviously the point of the ad is just get them to click the ad, right? And get the right people to click the ad, right? So that's a bit of an insight into the copy there. And then the creative, by the way, the creative is pretty much just the copy in a video form. That's really all the creative is. I'd always recommend as well to run video ads. So this ad account is an old one. Yeah, this one's okay. So just with the creative itself, I'm not going to play it because it's basically what that copy is that I just showed you. You can see you always want to put a header on it, okay? And that you can do a couple different things. So these act as different tests as well. So you could do a banner, and in the banner you could have the offer like I've got here, 90 qualified sales calls per month or you don't pay. That's one. Another test you could do is use do the call out as your banner. So in my case, I could do another banner test and say marketing agencies above 25K a month. Another test I could probably do is like more qualified sales calls or you don't pay. You know, that's another one. So it's kind of like speaking to the offer a little bit. And then basically how I do the editing on the ads is always pretty basic. So it's just literally captions, because 80% of Facebook users watch videos without the sound on. So you always want to caption your videos, make sure they're nice and easy to read and whatnot. Then obviously anytime you reference results, you always want to pop it up on the screen, or like that, right? You always want to pop it up on the screen as you reference the result. Same thing with your client case studies as well. Like here, for example, right? See that, right? I reference that, and that's really it. And again, the script of it is literally just the copy. I can do another video on the scripts and whatnot. We'll always do learn more, website URL, nice and simple, and then just select your domain. There you go. All right, and the website URL is gonna want to go to a page that looks something like this. All right, so you can see here, this is our opt-in page. This works really, really well. Our opt-in page used to not convert that great. I changed the headline to this, and this has started to perform really, really well in terms of conversion. But again, you can see how specific I'm getting on the opt-in page, and this is what then gives Facebook the collateral to then really optimize around only who is qualified. Because if you're not a marketing agency and you come to this page, like you're not probably going to opt in, right? Or at least majority don't. We still get people who opt in who aren't qualified, but like majority don't, right? Why? Because the messaging is so specific. Marketing agencies above 25K a month, recalling out the market. We scheduled 7,500 qualified sales calls for 148 of our clients in the last 14 days, and I'll guarantee you 90 qualified sales calls in the next 30 days completely done for you, or you don't pay, right? So offer, speaking to desire, whatever. Also a bit of a result there as well, which I think is also why this works so well. Enter your info below and we'll text you a one page on how this works. The reason I always say text is because it increases the accuracy of the number that they actually give. Before this, we found they always gave fake numbers. So if we tie the information they want, their number, they're more likely to give their number, right? Then I say, if you don't own a marketing agency doing above 25K a month, do not request information and please leave this page immediately, right? So very, very direct here again, which helps Facebook optimize further, helps the algorithm. Then in here, I go again, enter your info below and we'll text, make a point of that. You a short video on how the guaranteed done for you sales calls work. If you don't own a marketing agency above 25K a month, do not put in your details and please leave this page immediately. Again, same thing. Also this refill section here, I did phone number to send the video to. So that again increases accuracy of the data that they enter on their phone number. So kind of cheeky there, but it works really, really well. Okay. So overall, that is how to run ads for your agency. Obviously I didn't go too deep into the copy and the creatives and whatnot. I've got other videos on the channel. I didn't go too deep into the funnel. I've got other videos on the channel. This is more of a technical one. Hopefully this works. I got a call that I'm already late for. So I will see you in the next training.